Hello and welcome back to Capital Country Busways, where today we are at the Edgware garage with Capital and Capital Country. Edgware Shed 1 is currently home to 90 buses in the Capital Northwest fleet, split between these MAN Lion Cities, BYD BD11s, and B5LH Eclipse Gemini 3s. So, Edgware Shed 2 is going to get the go-ahead right off the bat. Edgware is a very large bus garage in real life, so, yep. It's also shared between two TfL operators in real life as well. So, there you go. This is EW Shed 2. So let's EW Shed 2 Edgware Capital Northwest and Country North. Country N. There you go. Capital NW. There we go. Perfect. Not quite. Perfect. So, this week we're going to be launching two routes that I have been meaning to launch for quite a while, the 306 and 309, which will serve Borehamwood. The 306 will run from New Barnet up to St Albans, via High Barnet, Chipping Barnet, Arkley, Borehamwood, Shenley, London Coney, and St Julian's, I think that is. While the 309 will run from Edgware to Southgate, via Elstreet, Borehamwood, Arkley, Barnet, New Barnet, and New Barnet. We are also going to be launching, or putting in place, two new local services. One will run from Edgware to Potter's Bar, via Elstreet, Letchmore Heath, Radlett, Shenley and South Mimms. The other will run from this part of Borehamwood down here. There's this park here called Ripon Park, so I'll probably have it be Borehamwood Ripon Park. Then up to Radlett. Then around through here, I don't know what this area is called, but we'll go through Kingsley Green Hospital, and then it will terminate at Shenley. So it would be rather circuitous, but it should hopefully all make a lot of sense when it's done. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put those local routes in place, and these are going to be the 381 and 382. I think. Bear with. Nope, they're going to be the 381 and 385. I like that. The 385 will be the, or 381 and 389. Yeah. 381 is going to be Edgware to Potter's Bar. There we go. So we'll be running from Edgware Station up through Elstreet, Letchmore Heath, Radlett, Shenley, South Mimms and into Potter's Bar, where we will be running via the bus station and terminating at the bus garage. So, let's head back down to Edgware and post me, if you don't mind. And there is the 381 from Edgware to Potters Bar via Elstreet, Letchmore Heath, Radlett, Shenley and South Mimms. This will run probably every half hour. And you know, maybe it does run every... Maybe it'll run every hour on Sundays to Shenley. And I'll have it terminate at St Martin's Church. So we'll go Shenley, St Martin's Church. So let's find St Martin. There it is. And we'll rename this stop to Shenley. Small caps. Size equals 75%. St Martin's Church. There we go. You don't put an apostrophe when it's all caps, by the way. But there we go. That is the 381, which will run from Edgware to Potters Bar during the week and on Saturdays, while on Sundays it will run just to Shenley. It won't do the bit out to Potters Bar. Which means we should be able to run that hourly with one bus. Or two. It should be a whole lot easier to run at a reasonable but low frequency on a Sunday. That's what I'm getting at. In the meantime, I'm going to get this set up. The core route is going to run up to every half hour during the week, so I'll see you when that is in place. And the timetable for the 381 is now in place, running between Edgware and Potters Bar Mondays to Saturdays, and between Edgware and Shenley on Sundays, running up to every half hour during the week and every 45 minutes on Sundays. We will need up to 5 of our intended vehicle type for the 381. We can activate that later. Next, it's time for the 389, which will run from Borehamwood out to Shenley via Radlett. And somewhere else. I will get to it. This is going to be the 389 from Borehamwood to Shenley. So this is going to run from Ripon Park down here, this way, then into the station, out, then up, through Radlett like that, then across down here to Kingsley Green Hospital. Then it's going to come out and down and around Shenley in a big loop like that. On Sundays it's going to get cut back to Kingsley Green Hospital, and it's just going to be a local service like that, because there are other ways to get to Shenley from both Borehamwood and Radlett. But in the meantime, let's get going with the 389 to Shenley. So post me, if you don't mind. So, this is the 389 between Borehamwood, which I've not spelt correctly at all. Where on earth did I get that from? There you go. Borehamwood, Ripon Park to Shenley via Elstreet and Borehamwood Station, Radlett and Kingsley Green Hospital. On a Sunday, it will be cut back to Kingsley Green Hospital from Shenley and from Ripon Park to Elstreet and Borehamwood Station. That little symbol I've put there translates to the British Rail double arrows on the matrix system that I will be that is used by the buses I'll be using on this route, which, you know, I think that's cool. It's a cool feature and I want to show it off in a video, so I'm going to use it on the 389. I'll have to remember to show that off on a Sunday because the 389 will only terminate there on a Sunday. Yeah. But that is the 389, ready to go for timetabling. I think this one is also going to run every half hour during the week, and on Sundays, who knows? Maybe every 45 minutes, maybe every hour, we'll see. And the 389 is now in place between Borehamwood and Shenley, running every half hour during the week and every 45 minutes on Sundays, only between Elstreet and Borehamwood Station and Kingsley Green Hospital. So yes, that is able to run on a Sunday with, I believe, one bus. Let's have a look. This 6:49 is the first bus, gets into Kingsley Green at 7:11, returns at 7:12, gets back into Elstreet and Borehamwood at 7:32, and indeed, it's one bus shuttling backwards and forwards all day. So we'll activate that from Edgware Shed 2 later. Now, the buses for these are going to be a fleet of 12 Mercedes-Benz eCitaro Ks, which are interesting buses. I really like them. They're an electric version of the baby Citaro. I already have an MEK type, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make... I already have an MEK one, but it's for Capital Busways ones. So I will split out a new MEK. There we go, and we're going to buy 12 of them. I don't have enough money. Now I do. So yeah, now I won't be able to launch the 309 and the 306 and 309, which is not great, because I had really wanted to. But oh well. Gives me time to work out the fact that I don't really have a livery for the EE type. But this is the eCitaro K. Because it's so short, I had to move the logo forward on these three lines, which pained me because it's the first bus I've ever had to do that for. But it's such an adorable little bus, it's definitely worth it. I love the eCitaro. The Citaro K as a whole family, and the electric ones as well, are so cute, and they're just so funny in their proportions. They're really chonky, but then it's just such a little guy, and yet it doesn't look stupid. I approve of the eCitaro. And the eCitaro K. So let's buy 2 more. Where's the MEK? There it is. Very nice. And indeed, we couldn't quite afford all of those, but it's fine. So I'm going to head over to Romford, where we actually have a few already. Hence why we already have a vehicle group for them. These are going to come straight off of the first ones delivered at Romford, so we're going to have MEK13 LT74MEX as our first one. So let's just capital country, Edgware, MEK13 LT74MEX. So I'll get the rest of these done in a happy little jump cut, and I'll see you as we get to the last one. And finally we have LT74MFJ, better known to us as MEK24. These ready to start service on new routes 381 and 389 at Edgware Shed 2, serving Edgware, Elstreet, Borehamwood, Letchmore Heath, Radlett, Shenley, South Mimms and Potter's Bar, and Kingsley Hospital. Can't forget Kingsley Hospital, can we? So, let's hire some bus drivers for this garage. Friendly is the name of the game, and we are pretty much guaranteed profit, so I don't particularly care about expenditure as long as we get friendly. Because yeah, the Capital Country Network does obscenely well. The 306 and 309 are going to make profit regardless, so it does not matter. This garage will be viable, whatever happens. So I don't care how much I have to pay, as long as it's a nice number that doesn't make me want to turn myself inside out. But that should be enough. So, let's activate the 381 from Edgware to Potter's Bar via Elstreet, Letchmore Heath, Radlett, Shenley and South Mimms, and the 389 from Borehamwood, Ripon Park to Shenley St Martin's Church via Elstreet and Borehamwood Station, Radlett and Kingsley Hospital. And it seems that we have bought exactly the right number of buses. I can't see any way of making these fit together any more conveniently, so that works very nicely indeed for us. When is the first one going? Looks like 7:40. Yeah, 7:40, and that is going to be doing a 389, while the first 381 goes at 8:10 from the garage. I've been jumped across to the East London side of the map, which, all in good time, all in good time. The B5LH Eclipse Gemini 3s even, at this garage, all do the 102, I think. Which I can't remember if I put that one in on camera or not. But that runs from Brent Cross to Edmonton Green. It's basically a carbon copy of the real 102. Because I couldn't think of a way to make the 102 better. It's pretty much perfect in my eyes. And I like to fiddle with things, so that is high praise. But anywho, I will rejoin you when we have something to look at on the 381 and 389. So, it is now time to join LT74MEX on its first run of the 389 from Shenley down to Borehamwood Ripon Park. So the 389 does a very large circuit of Shenley, doing the bulk of its circuit on the way back to Borehamwood. heading into Shenley, it skips that massive housing estate and just goes straight down the main road, which is what those 2 stops are that we missed. But all services on the 389 serve Kingsley Green Hospital are just like that. And I can tell that this slow section is going to cause mayhem on Sundays, because I took a minute off there. Oops. Oh well. We're coming down through Radlett now, where the fully low floor design of the Mercedes-Citaro is paying dividends, because it has a much larger capacity than other buses its size, due to the fact that the low floor that you would be able to stand in extends all the way to the back of the bus. It's not the best of ideas to stand in the sort of high floor bit at the back of a traditional low floor bus, but the Citaro is fully low floor, so it's fine. Because of that design feature, Citaros can just swallow crowds. They are really fantastic single-decker buses. But we are nearly at the end of the run, down to Ripon Park in Borehamwood, and I've forgotten to send it through the Tesco. Oh well. Maybe I'll change that, maybe I won't. Who knows? But that is now at Ripon Park, and it's time to have a look at the 381. Which, will there be one in Potter's Bar? There is one in Potter's Bar, and it leaves in 5 minutes' time. So yes, the 381 runs from Potter's Bar down to Edgware via South Mimms, Shenley, Radlett, Elstreet, Radlett, Letchmore Heath, Elstreet, and then into Edgware. Hence the use of small buses. It goes through a lot of very small places. And at just over an hour in length, the eCitaro K is rather justified for the small bus as the small bus of choice, because again, the other thing about Citaros that I absolutely adore is that they ride like coaches. They are just set up so perfectly for comfort that you can just soak up the miles in a Citaro, no problem. Have I made it clear enough that I like the Citaro? Because if not, I like the Citaro. That bus going the other way there, that's a 389 that comes around the top, 381 goes around the bottom. And yes, the 381 is doing rather well at just giving everyone a good ride. It's not that busy. I was expecting the 381 to be busier than the 389, I can't lie. It's that connection to Kingsley Hospital, I swear. But we are now coming out of Radlett and down towards Letchmore Heath, where we have a bit of a countryside stint down into Elstreet, and then a final run down into Edgware. This is a nice fast section. Without sounding like a broken record, another thing I absolutely love about Citaro is just how well they do on fast sections. I've never been on a Citaro that's felt lacking in power in any way, and I've been on every iteration of the diesel Citaro, I think. I know I've been on the C1, the facelift C1, and the C2, and I've been on relatively new C2s, I've been on relatively old C2s, and I've been on new facelifts, and I've been on old facelifts. So I think I have all my major bases covered when it comes to eCitaros. Although I would love to see if anyone's preserved any of the W-Reg batch that first got either in Glasgow or Manchester. The very first eCitaros in the UK. That would be nice to see. In preservation. If I ever end up in the situation where I can preserve a bus, I might do a eCitaro, who knows? But those are the two routes for this episode. I didn't realise we were running so low on money. I'm used to having millions in the bank on South Coast and West Scotland. Whereas this series is expanding very, very quickly, so I've never really got enough money to do the expansions when I want to for the videos, if that makes sense. But anywho, let's return to Edgware and say one final farewell to our new batch of eCitaros for the 381 and 389. And I think on that note, I will see you next week from Capital Busways. Bye bye.